Okay. Quantum fail. Love it. Keep sending them on, Polly. Use it all the time. Beginning and end. How we all doing tonight? All right, give me a couple seconds here to adjust ourselves. I think we're doing okay. Hey, welcome aboard, and sorry I'm late again. Actually had a knock at the door, which was anyway, kind of threw me off. I was shooting for that 7 o'clock kind of thing, and broadcasting live here on YouTube. Kenny Bisson, Cities and Suburbs, as you can see right here. A show about your cities, about your suburbs, about your livelihood, and all cities, big and small, face their challenges every day, up and all. So, the weather today around Massachusetts, snow. Worcester is, winter rather, is making its way. Its last, I'm still here kind of thing. I'm not going away. We got to chase it away. Although we've been very, very lucky. You guys have to say, 3 years ago in 2015, I had snowstorm after snowstorm after snowstorm, and twice in a week, and it was terrible. But we get through it because we're hardy New Englanders. Yeah. Anyway, so be safe tomorrow. It is February 27th, 2019. Tomorrow we say goodbye to February 2019. Thank you, February. You were a bittersweet month personally. Anyway, but we hope you all doing well. The low temperature today, right here in New England. I try to give the low and high. So the high today was a tie between, again, 5 counties in Florida, all ranging between the 80s and the 90s. But so that's the nation's high. Nation low, minus 29 at Mount Washington. Wow. You don't want that car driving that in this weather. That's for sure. So I just wanted to talk about 2 things. I talked about last week about leaving you guys with some information about a Frederick Henry Harvey. We'll get to him in a second, but just wanted to talk a little bit about downtown Worcester. I'm watching my time here. I only want to go about 10 minutes. And so what's happening is to the Midtown Mall. Now, when I remember when I think it was Phil Palmieri was the counselor and, had a thing for the Midtown Mall. So the Midtown Mall is the Worcester Regional Development Authority is voting to direct the city council to provide funding to take that building, the Midtown Mall, by eminent domain. And largely because the owner of the property, which it's private property, it's not public property. I mean, there's a landlord there, there's businesses in there. But largely the city wants to, annex it or own it, if you will, and keep bring it up to a standard of the development that's going on around the Midtown Mall. So if people don't know the Midtown Mall, it's right down from Front Street, where all those nice living quarters are. But if you move up Front Street, and I've said this before, you move past CVS, and there's certainly a downgrade. There's certainly a downgrade to the properties there. There's a lot of private investment going on in the living, the hub, and the condos, and apartments and there's new stores and hotels and the AC Hotel, but it's not leaching that way. And so there's you can go online and you can look at the Worcester Regional Authority redevelopment site, and you can see what their urban plan is. And it does include the Midtown Mall. Let me just give you a little picture here that the Midtown Mall was at one point. Yes, I'm leaning on the other side of we need to do something with the Midtown Mall, but at one time was a really cool place. But they had t-shirt places. I think they even had a head shop there. For different restaurants. The downstairs and this is going back to the 70s, the downstairs of the Midtown Mall seemed to always kind of be, even back then, 40 years ago, there was really nothing going on downstairs. And I will say that, the top floor, though, that's where all the cool places are. There were cool places to eat. Could buy really cool T-shirts, and right up the road you had a record store, and so there was complementary businesses. But over time, as Worcester, and it was all supported by some traffic too. That the Worcester Center Galleria was there. That's what I'm going to call it. We changed it to the Worcester Commons and whatever, but Worcester Center. When it first opened up, it was called the Worcester Center. They used to put the Santa Claus on top of the roof, the Worcester Center, right where Front Street is now, which Front Street was there 100 years ago. Then they built them all over it, and then they had to do it all over again. So blah, blah, blah. But so the Midtown Mall, though, when I drive by it, I'm not saying my memories and my emotional sentiment should rebuild the Midtown Mall, but it's out there. Okay, so the property is owned privately. The city wants it, and they're not going to knock it down or raise it, but they want to sell it to. They'll take it from eminent domain, and I'm not going to. We don't need to get into, let's go in and grab it kind of thing, because that's a lot of urban. Renewal involves eminent domain and paying price for the parcel, and through some types of law you're out. But the city says, dude, if maybe he won't sell the property. This guy's not going to sell the property, and so while his neighbors in downtown Worcester are pouring millions of dollars into the properties, whether they're landowners, whether they're organizations. So I was reading in the TNG tonight. It seems like the city council is split. No one wants to, throw out current people who are current businesses that are making their livelihood down there. But I do have to say that I drive by it, and some of the restaurants, Councilor Lukes, said it is, providing a service down there to a certain population of, not a certain population, but it's still providing a service to people downtown. I'll challenge that by maybe asking Ms. Lukes how often she goes there for lunch. Okay. I don't know. It's just a fair question. But I've seen the facade. And the reason why I say dilapidated in my headline tonight is because that is what was deemed in the Worcester Telegram tonight by a city councilor. I'm for it. We don't want to take it by eminent domain and force people out. We want to do business, but the landlord that's he's not negotiating with us. And some city councils saying, well, just because a landlord doesn't negotiate with you doesn't mean you should empower eminent domain. However, there's the pressure around all of that section of Front Street to fall into line with an urban renewal plan. And there's some stores along that section from, the Mechanic Street up to Main. There are some stores that are trying to, support the 18-hour factor downtown. So we'll see what happens. But so whether they take the mall by eminent domain or not, I have to say they probably will. I mean, from what I'm reading, hey, Daryl. Thank you. Because that's just, I had mentioned it the other night that in some places where our cities now, would you build a city now, right there, in today's day and age? And say, probably not. So let's knock it down and build it over again. Jenga. But that's human progress. Frederick Henry Harvey, June 27th, 1835, February 1901, was an entrepreneur who developed the Harvey House lunchrooms, restaurants, souvenir shops, and hotels, which served rail passengers on the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway. Okay, this guy was an innovative restaurateur and marketer. Fred Harvey is credited with creating the first restaurant chain in the United States. Frederick Harvey was born to mixed Scottish and English parents and immigrated to the United States from Liverpool, England in 1853, and at the age of 17. Okay, so he took a job as a pot scrubber and a busboy at Smith and McNeil's restaurant, a popular New York City restaurant, blah, blah. So Fred Harvey and his employees successfully brought new higher standards of both civility and dining to a region widely regarded as an area to the Wild West. So this guy, Fred Harvey, go check him out. He also gained notoriety and a boost in a business incorporation of the Harvey Girls, Judy Garland. You guys can check that out. So basically, he was an entrepreneur and hooked along the train lines. And he developed not only great rail service, but great restaurants that located upon all the railroads that were moving out west. And basically, he saw a niche. He said, he had a lot of food experience. Go check him out, Frederick Harvey. I'm not going to give you a whole bio because I want to keep within my 10 to 12 minute factoid here. I'm sorry, timeline. But he saw a kind of like Howard Johnson's in motels and hotels. But he saw a need to have good food. Okay, when people were taking the trains, they stopped at these places, and so he basically invented Harvey restaurants, and they were top of the line, great culinary service, and utensils and plates and white tablecloths, and the etiquette of the ladies. And if you were a Harvey girl, he said that his Harvey girls had to work at least 1 year for him before they entertained any kind of marriage. So this is going back to, guys, this is, we're talking early 1900s. Harvey girls resided in housing the ages 18 to 30 and did not permit them to marry until they had put in a full year of work. And Harvey girls resided in housing adjacent to the restaurants where they were supervised by the most senior girl who enforced curfews and chaperoned male visits. Wow. Okay, roughly 5,000 Harvey girls moved out west to work ultimately and marry. So Harvey houses continue to be built and operated into the 1960s. So, yeah, I mean, he incorporated, he was quite an entrepreneur, and sometimes that means just like being really clever. I can't say that I'm like falling in line with my contemporary brain with the Harvey Girl thing. There was a Judy Garland movie out there that doesn't mention maybe any of this. But yeah, but he established so many restaurants and Harvey houses, and they were top line, top food. You could get oysters, filet mignon, out in the Wild West. Yeah, so he's the man. Anyway, guys, that's my time. I'll see you next time on the Cities and Suburbs Show. All right, take care. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.